Hello students, welcome to the science online class. Today we are discussing about chapter 1 of class 7, that is nutrition in plants. Children, you know that most of the plants have green pigment called chlorophyll and they can make their own food. That means they are having autotrophic mode of nutrition. But there are some plants which are not be able to make their own food. Today we will learn about other modes of nutrition in plants, and in this content we will learn about parasitic, saprophytic, insectivorous and symbiotic plants. Some plants do not contain chlorophyll and hence cannot be able to make their own food. These plants are known as heterotrophic plant. Depending on their mode of obtaining food, all the heterotrophic plants can be divided into two main groups, that is parasites and saprophytes. Now the question is, what are parasitic plant? A plant which lives on or inside another organisms and derives the food from it is called a parasite. The organism from which the parasite gets its food is known as host. Cuscuta is an example of parasitic plant. We can see Cuscuta plant as a yellow tubular structure twining around the stem and branches of a tree. Here you can see the picture of the Cuscuta plant. The tree on which Cuscuta plant climbs is its host. Cuscuta is a non-green plant having a yellow color. Since Cuscuta plant does not have the green pigment, that is chlorophyll, it cannot synthesize its own food. Cuscuta plant takes ready-made food from the tree or plant on which it climbs. Cuscuta plant deprives the host tree of valuable nutrients, so it is a parasite. In addition to Cuscuta, some other examples of plant parasites are mistletoe, wheat rust and corn smut. Now we will discuss about the saprophytes. Those non-green plants which obtain their food or nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter are called saprophytes. The non-green plants called fungi derive their food from dead and decaying organic matter. So fungi are saprophytes. The fungi such as mushrooms, bread mold and yeast are saprophytes. Many times we see small fluffy umbrella-like plants growing on rotting wood during the rainy season. Here you can see the such kind of picture. These are a kind of fungus called mushrooms. So here you can see the mushrooms which are having umbrella-like structure. These mushrooms take their nutrition from the rotting wood of a dead tree. Now children, the question may come in your mind that how the non-green saprophytic plants obtain their food. The saprophytic plants like fungi secrete digestive juices on the dead and decaying organic matter and convert it into a solution. They absorb the nutrients from this solution. Fungi also grow on pickles, leather objects, clothes, and other articles which are left uncleaned in hot and humid weather for a considerable time. The growth of fungi may spoil many things during the rainy season, but fungi can be useful also. Fungi such as mushrooms and yeast are useful. Mushrooms are eaten as a vegetables, whereas yeast is used for producing alcohol. Yeast is also used in the baking industry for making bread, cake, etc. Some fungi are also used for making medicines. For example, penicillium is used in making an antibiotic known as penicillin. Fungi can be harmful also. Fungi also causes diseases in plants and human beings. Sometimes the whole crop standing in the fields are destroyed by fungus. Different skin diseases like ringworm in humans is caused by fungus. So we have learned that fungi can be useful as well as harmful. Now we will discuss about insectivorous plants. There are some green plants which obtain their food partly from the soil and atmosphere and partly from small insects. Those green plants which obtain their food partly from insects are called insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants are also known as carnivorous plants. The insectivorous plants have specialized leaves to catch the insects. The insectivorous plants grow only in those soils which do not contain sufficient nitrogen mineral. These insectivorous plants trap insects by various methods, kill them, and digest them to obtain nitrogen compounds for their growth. Some common examples of the insectivorous plants are pitcher plant, sundew, Venus flytrap, and bladderwort. In the pitcher plant, the lamina or blade of the leaf is modified into a hollow tube called pitcher. The leaf apex, which is also known as the top part of leaf, forms a lid which can open or close the mouth of the pitcher. Inside the pitcher, there are hairs which are directed downwards. When an insect falls in the pitcher, the lid closes automatically. The trapped insect gets entangled in the hair of the pitcher and hence cannot come out. After some time, the insect dies in the pitcher. The walls of the pitcher secrete digestive juices which digest the proteins present in the body of insect to form simpler nitrogen compounds like amino acids. These simpler nitrogen compounds are absorbed by the walls of the pitcher and used by the whole pitcher plant. Here, one thing you have to remember that insectivorous plants are green and carry out photosynthesis to obtain a part of the food required by them. But they do not get the nitrogen nutrient from the soil in which they grow. I have already told you that the insectivorous plants grow only in those soils which do not contain sufficient nitrogen. So, insectivorous plants feed on insect to obtain the nitrogen compounds needed for their growth. We can say that insectivorous plants are partial heterotrophs. They get some food by photosynthesis and some by eating insects. Here you can see the picture of a pitcher plant. Now we will learn about symbiotic plants. The living together of two different species of plants as if they are parts of the same plant and help each other in obtaining food is called symbiosis. This type of nutrition involving symbiosis occurs in the plants called lichen. In lichen, the green colored plant called alga and non-green plant fungus live together. The fungus plant absorbs the water and mineral from the surroundings and supplies them to alga. The alga plant, being green, can prepare the food by photosynthesis and shares it with fungus. Thus, both alga and fungus gain mutually from one another by living together. This is an example of symbiosis. The plants which exhibit mutually and do the symbiosis are called symbiotic plants. Symbiotic relationship is advantageous to both the organism. Here you can see in this picture, you can see the green part is representing the alga, whereas thread-like structure is representing the fungus. Certain fungi live in the roots of trees. These fungi take up water and minerals from the soil and supply them to the roots of the tree. That tree in return provides food to these fungi. So this is also an example of symbiotic nutrition. Rhizobium bacteria live in the root nodules of leguminous plants such as gram, beans, etc. Here you can see the picture of the rhizobium bacteria which are present in the root nodule. In the root part of the plant you can see there are some globostructure, some spherical structures. I think you can see these are the rhizobium bacteria. Okay. The rhizobium bacteria convert nitrogen gas of air into water soluble nitrogen compounds called nitrates and give them to the leguminous plants for their growth. In return, leguminous plants give food and shelter to rhizobium bacteria. Thus, rhizobium bacteria and leguminous plants have a symbiotic relationships. So children, today this much. Hope the topic is clear to all of you. We will meet in the next class. Thank you.